Hello, my friend. Welcome to She Sells Radio. We are talking today about 5 ways to double your sales this month. And my goal for this episode is that this is not just a catchy marketing title that Elise came up with, but it is genuinely things you can implement right now to help you double your sales this month. And as I was thinking about it, and I'll share at the end just something new that I'm working on now too, and kind of what inspired it is I feel like sometimes people think, well, because it's summer, I can't be focused on making more money or growing my sales. And if you're like me, it's like just because it's summer, it doesn't mean that life stops. You probably want to take some awesome vacations with your family, right? You maybe want to go, I don't know, buy an RV like we did recently because you're catching that bug. And this mindset of we got to take a break from selling and growing and making more money in the summer. It's never been my mindset. I'm guessing if you are listening to this, it hasn't been your mindset too, because I know you and I know you've got big goals, big visions. And to me, a lot of summer is about having so many fun experiences. And those experiences require some moolah often, not always, but often. So what I wanted to talk about today are these 5 things that I have literally done to double sales in a month. They are going to be primarily tactical. I'll weave in some of the inner work that I love to talk about as we go throughout it, but let's get into it. So here's the first thing. And this is really, I would say, the biggest inner work piece is if you want to double your sales this month, you got to feel worthy of it. You've got to feel worthy of it, my friend. I actually want to take you, I wasn't even planning on doing this in the episode, but I want you to think about, and this is something you can do to help double them, is think about what is life like when your sales are doubled this month. So take whatever you typically do, because we all kind of have a set point, a threshold that we normally hit financially every month. And what would it look like for you to double it this month? And almost, you can even just kind of close your eyes and breathe into that and see where you are, see what that number looks like in your bank account. To me, the thing that always gets me feeling most excited is thinking about, okay, who are those people that I'm working with now? Like, who am I serving at a deeper level? And what does that feel like to connect with them on a deeper level and to have this level of expansion, both in how I'm showing up professionally, as well as how I now get to live personally. And then for you, if you were to double your sales this month, just thinking about that, what's that going to do for your life? What are you going to be able to do that you've been saying someday, later, or no, I just can't afford it? What could you say yes to today that would be so expansive for you, for your family, for your loved ones? And feel into that and that vision. And coming back to the worthiness piece, this is always how I kind of check in on, am I a match for my financial goal or not? Is there any part of me that kind of shrank when I thought about that? Is there any part of me that felt maybe just a little bit unworthy of that? And I've said it before, I'll say it again. This is why I do focus so much on the inner work in this community, is that your level of income will never exceed your level of self-worth. Your level of income will never exceed your level of self-worth. Now, I'm not going to do a deep dive into all things worthiness today. I've done that on other episodes, but I will say, it's something I work on in my own life all the time. And just this, I'll share this slightly different angle for you today that was inspired by something I was listening to right before I recorded. So I'm listening to Joe Dispenza's course online, which if you know me, you know I am just, I will preach his work till the day I die. It's so good and so powerful. So I was listening to his course and he was talking about meditation, of course, and how if you want to have a mystical moment in your meditation, like if you want to have an out of body experience, if you want to go non-local, if you want to do something kind of different, you can't come to the meditation with the attitude of maybe an obstinate teenager that's like, ugh, I really don't want to be here doing this, but I'm going to do it because I'm going to check the box. And the way he put it was, the divine will be like, okay, I mean, that's fine. You can show up that way, but you're going to have to raise your energy if you want to experience that next level in your meditation. And I thought, gosh, isn't it the true with our sales? Isn't it the truth with our sales as well? And with our goals that we want to achieve, is if there's any part of you that's like dragging yourself or stuck in old patterns or feeling unworthy or feeling like, this would be nice, but it's not you're not willing to raise your energy to that level of what it would be like to double your sales, you're not going to do it. So just remembering that, and remembering that this is why I work on worthiness so much with my clients too, is there's oftentimes this conditioning in this belief system that it's worthy to not make more and it's worthy to suffer. And the way I think about it now, and I just practice this in my own life too, is like, is there any part of the divine that's unworthy? Is there any part of the divine that's like available for suffering? And to me, if I want to raise my results, I got to get more like the divine, right? I got to feel more worthy. I've got to feel more, just whole, more like, of course, people want to work with me at this higher level, and practicing that and knowing that it's good. And you are more like the divine when you're raising your level of worthiness, and you're less like it when you play the unworthiness game that you sometimes play with yourself, or maybe often play with yourself. So just practicing that and affirming whatever you need to affirm to raise your energy there. But like things like, it's good for me to make more money. The more I make, the closer to the divine I am, right? Whatever speaks to you in your language, doing that. And there has to be a level of, along with this, there has to be a level of unavailability to not make more. So this is the other piece, is you can say it all day long. Oh yeah, it would be great to double my sales this month. But if you're available not to, you won't. So, and no one can do that for you. You've got to really make that firm decision for yourself that I'm done with any level of not enoughness, saying it would be nice, but yada, yada. No one can do that for you. So just that little PSA there, that's your job, my friend. But then in terms of I'm going to start tying it more into your sales process here. Feeling worthy of making more money, to me, it also ties in with, would you buy what you're selling? Like really checking in with, would you buy what you're selling? And whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you are in sales for another company, is what you're selling something that you think is game changing for whatever the promise is a great value for the money? It doesn't mean that it's cheap, but is a great value for the money. Would you buy it if someone brought it to you and presented it? So there's kind of two parts to this, right? If someone brought the product to you, like, would the product change your life, or service? Would that change your life? If not, and you're an entrepreneur, it's time to change up what you're doing. If not, and you're in sales for somebody else, I would say get aligned with a company where you can feel like you're selling something life-changing. I think that's so important. You've got to be so bought in, but then also look at with the level of enthusiasm that you're talking about what you do and how you're bringing it to people. Would you buy from you? Like, would that, when you come to a prospect, are you apologetic? Do you minimize? Do you downplay what you have to offer? Or are you remembering, this is especially for us who are entrepreneurs and who are selling our own thing, we have to sometimes separate that it's our product, and it's oftentimes tied to our personal, journey, our personal lives, et cetera. And we can get the energy kind of muddled up there sometimes. So if you're an entrepreneur, you got to put on your marketing hat and say, I am marketing this as if it wasn't mine, almost. It has to be kind of that. I think about that when I sell and market my own stuff. But it's that level of conviction. Like, do you have such a level of conviction, regardless of whether you're working for another company or you're an entrepreneur? Are you so convicted when you talk to people that they catch that enthusiasm and they're like, yes? And to be so convicted and have it be lasting and not, and have it be lasting, you've got to really believe in what you're selling. So that's the first thing is, would you buy from you and feeling worthy of making double the sales this month? The second, now we're going to get into some super tactical things. To me, if I desire to create a larger cash injection in a short amount of time, it's always about low-hanging fruit. So let's talk about referrals for a moment. So your second strategy here is ask for referrals from your existing customers, from your existing happy clients. Now, there's a few things here, and I know some of this sounds basic, but I want you to check in on, are you really doing it? And some of my best financial months, both when I was working in sales for other organizations and then also in my own company, have been when I just remembered to ask for referrals. Ding, ding, ding. We don't have to make it so complicated as we do sometimes. So with referrals, I have worked with organizations that made it very high pressure to get referrals. I never liked that. I never felt comfortable with that. I never felt good about it. It was almost like a manipulative approach. Like, I'm not leaving here until you give me some referrals. That's not what I'm talking about here. Okay. So if any part of you is like, I don't like the high pressure ask for referrals, that's not what we're talking about. I truly believe that, again, if you're so convicted in what you're selling and you know that it serves people when they purchase it, then it's a disservice to not see who else could benefit from it. But it doesn't have to be some super high pressure conversation, right? So think about, who are your top like 5 to 10 happiest clients? And then you can literally just go to them, keep it casual. Hey, I'm so grateful to have you as a client and as a customer. I love working with you. One of my desires for this year, one of my goals for this year is to take on, 5 more clients in this product or service, 10 more clients, whatever it is. I just wanted to reach out to you. There's zero pressure, but if you happen to know someone who's like you that you think I should be talking to or connecting with, I'd love to be connected. And then this is just a little tip that you can use with referrals that does make a big difference, because people will say, yes, of course, and they want to introduce you all day long. But realistically, is it the number one thing on their priority list in their lives? No. So often, if we leave it up to them to craft some beautiful introduction message and to take the time to do it, it's like, it just won't happen. So we want to think about, how can we make it super easy for people to give you referrals? One of my favorite little tips to do is pre-write an introduction message that somebody can use to introduce you. So literally craft the email for them, send it to them. They can tweak it or modify it if they want, but it'll at least give them a jumping off point. And then from there, you let them use that, right? So it'll be way easier for them. You can also ask for permission to look at their LinkedIn network and see, who they're connected to, who you think would be a good fit for you to work with, and just say, hey, if you're comfortable with it, because I know you're busy, do you mind if I take a look at who you're connected to on LinkedIn and send you a list of names, and any of them who you know well enough who you'd be comfortable making an introduction. From there, I can give you just a copy and paste blurb you can do. Or if you don't even want to do that because you're super busy, if you're comfortable with your permission, I can reach out to them directly and let them know we're connected and you thought it would be good for us to connect. So it's all about, again, be above board with it. Don't go making stuff up like so-and-so told us to connect when that's not true. I know you're not going to, because you're a listener of this. I'm just saying, I've seen these things in the sales world. But then make it easy for them. And then if you're so inclined, I always love offering a referral fee or an affiliate fee. It's something we're rolling out more formally in our company this summer, is an ongoing affiliate program, because a lot of my business comes from referrals. And I cut a check yesterday for $1,500. I'm sending out more and more money to people for referrals. Like, this is fun to me, and I want to help everyone prosper and grow by sending referrals in our company. And you can do that too, right? And you can do this even if you're not an entrepreneur. So, this is, I think, part of how I always was pretty successful in corporate sales, is I really thought about it like it was my own business and like I was an entrepreneur, and I was willing to invest money out of pocket to send referral fees if my company wasn't doing that. I was willing to invest money in coaching and training and yada, yada, even if my company wouldn't pay for it. And because I always just had that entrepreneurial mindset with it. So think about like, what would make someone want to send you a referral? Number one, they know you're going to take great care of the person and they're going to look good for sending it. But also they may like a little cash for, I would only pay when it turns into a client. But that can be a great motivator for people, right? And you can do it a couple different ways. In our affiliate program, we're doing a percentage of what the client spends with us every month. You can also do just a flat fee. So I'll be happy to share numbers. I used to do like a flat $500 fee for whatever the referral was, because it made sense no matter what program someone bought from us. And we're rolling out now, oftentimes with affiliate with referral programs, you may do somewhere between 5 and 10% as a fee, depending on how much service is involved on the back end from you. This is probably another conversation for another time, but if you're selling a digital product and there's not a lot of delivery on your end, and you go and you start doing more in the affiliate launch field, you'll find that oftentimes people will expect, if they're going to introduce you to their list, they may expect 40% or 50% even of that, because there's not a lot of delivery on the back end once the program is created. But do your research depending on your industry, pick the amount that feels good to you. And then I think too, just little things like sending people updates on the referrals they've sent over to you. This is something I am getting better at in my own business. I'm not perfect with it right now, but I'm putting a system and structure in place to just send like a monthly update on all the referrals that have come through, because I want our referral partners to know where everything stands, who bought, who's in between, who said no. And I think it helps really develop that level of partnership with the person sending you referrals. So that's your second, is go get some referrals, my friend. And you can very easily double your sales with that. Number 3, again, low-hanging fruit. So I would look at, with your warm leads, what can you do? What can you do to incentivize them to move forward this month? So the way that I do it is I have a list in my CRM of, these are my warm leads, and I do it by program. So I've got warm leads for private coaching. I've got warm leads for our 10K club program, our 50K club program. And then we've got a few other things we do too. And so it kind of depends on like, again, it's going to be different if you're an entrepreneur or you're in sales. But for me, I look at, what would I love to sell this month? Like, how many clients do I want in my different programs? What feels really good? What feels in alignment? Who are the warm leads that I've been talking to? And I don't always do this. To me, I feel into, does this feel right or not? But I would say definitely try this if you haven't before, and you'll find you'll close more sales, is look at, what's the incentive I can give someone to move forward this month? Now, that could be a discount if you are into that. I don't really discount. I'm saying, trying to think, I don't think we've ever discounted anything we've done. So I don't discount what I do, but I will think about what could I give as a bonus for somebody moving forward and taking action this month that would be super juicy, that would be like a hell yes for them. And you can do this again, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're in sales. So think about, could I offer a special workshop for people who move forward this month, and it's closed doors, and I'm going to just pour everything I have into them to help them grow in the area I help them with. Could I bundle in something I already have that's a huge value? Or maybe you do decide, hey, for this month, I'm going to take a certain percentage off. Just be in the energy of abundance when you do it. I wouldn't do that from a place of scarcity. I don't think it'll work well if you do it from scarcity or pressure. But if it feels right and it feels aligned, then you can do that. So with all of this, it's creating a sense of urgency. It's not about false scarcity. It's not about false urgency. It's from the heart. What feels exciting? Like, I truly desire to call in this larger amount of clients this month, this larger amount of opportunities and financial resources for myself this month. What feels exciting? What feels expansive? And what could I do creatively that would create a sense of urgency around people taking action? And again, just do it in integrity. And I always love doing that. Your 4th tip, make it a goal to have as many sales conversations as possible this month. Now, note, I did not say to get as many yeses as possible. Make it a goal. Take some of the pressure off. You may have heard me say this before, but it's so true. Pressure dilutes your power. In almost every situation, pressure dilutes your power. So we're going to get out of the pressure of, I've got to get more yeses this month. And instead, let's get in the fun of, how many people can I talk to? How many conversations can I have? And so just look at, how many sales conversations did you have last month? What was the goal from that? And then what would it look like to double that this month? And just focus on that and have fun with that. You can set a reward for yourself for having the conversations. Again, not for getting yeses per se, but just for having the conversations. Because at the end of the day, a scarcity of sales calls is going to create a scarcity mindset. So it is important. Part of living in abundance, which I teach all the time in our work, is not just connecting with that feeling of abundance, that feeling of financial abundance, but also tactically, how can I create an abundance of sales opportunities? How can I create an abundance of new potential clients to talk to? Again, you can create these opportunities a lot of different ways. You can reach out to past clients, you can get referrals, you can send DMs, at the end of the day, I want you to remember, you are connected to a global marketplace. And if we take this one step further, you are connected through consciousness to all of the world. So there is no excuse to say, I don't have enough people to talk to. All right, that's an excuse. That's a lie. That's not true. So have some fun with it and fall in love with the process. And this is something just a little behind the scenes in my own life right now. I found when I get too grippy about any certain outcome, again, that pressure, it dilutes my power. And so something I'm having fun with in my own life right now is just falling in love with the process in every area. So that applies to meditation, that applies to how I show up with my family, that applies to with my clients, it applies to what I'm creating. How can I bring my most brilliant presence to this moment? How can I be more creative in this moment? Who do I want to become through this process? And then falling in love with mastering the process. And you can play with it. I've done this with sales conversations and it's kind of fun. Just saying gosh, I forget whether they buy from me or not. But if this were my last sales conversation right now, how would I want to show up on it? How much more present would I be? How would I speak? How direct would I be, right? Think about it. And this is not to be morbid, but if today you have a sales call and it was your last one, how much effort would you put into it? How much energy would you pour into it? How connected would you be to the person? How direct would you be with them if they need to be called out on some bullshit, right? If they give you some objections and you're like, I actually know that you're just not taking a stand in favor of your greatness. Now, that's not how I would handle an objection in real time. That's another podcast for another day, but we all know when that's happening, right? How direct would you be with people? How much would you get your ego out of the way about whether people need to like you or not, and just show up in service for them and be focused on helping them? So make it a goal for this next month to have as many conversations as possible. And then your fifth and final tip here is intentionality. Intentionality. Now, this may sound a little counter to what I just said, where I said have as many conversations as possible, but it's not, because when I say have as many conversations as possible, I mean from that place of alignment, from that place of intentionality. I've never been a fan of spray and pray. That is not how I roll. I have been in sales organizations that sold that way. I have coached salespeople who are taught to sell that way, but I don't like it. I don't think it's the most powerful way to sell. And I just don't. So look at, with the people you're reaching out to, are you reaching out to people you really want to work with? I'm in my own life. I don't care if I'm having a phenomenal sales month or if I'm having it's okay sales month. I am no longer available to reach out to people who I don't 100% want to work with, people who don't light me up at the thought of partnering with them. And it's that level of intentionality behind it that people can feel. They can feel if you're trying to hit a number. They can feel if you genuinely care about them or not. And so I would, make a list of who do I really want to work with? Like if I could have it any way, who do I really want to work with? Who do I want as my customers this month? And then when you reach out to them, you can have that level of intentionality. Is it going to take you a little bit more time to say something that's thoughtful? Sure. But you can take that time sending a blanket message that maybe you'll trick someone. I don't like to use the word tricks. I don't think anyone in this community is trying to trick someone, right? But it's like, you've heard sales is a number game, and to an extent, yes, that's true. And I think we can still have intentionality in what we're doing, and we don't have to blast, spray, and pray people with the thought of, well, hopefully someone will buy. That's just not how I roll. I'm not the coach for you if that's what you want to be coached on. So think about it in your outreach, and with that theme of intentionality and knowing that I don't care who it is, people want to feel important. They want to feel seen. They want to feel heard. Oftentimes we hold back from reaching out to someone who feels like a big prospect to us because we think they're so busy. What are they going to want to work with me for? Yada, yada. Here's the thing. Those people very often get the least acknowledgement, right? Think about it. Maybe you're selling to CEOs of organizations. Maybe you're selling to seven-figure entrepreneurs. Maybe you're selling to CROs, CMOs, I don't care who it is. When someone is leading and supporting a lot of other people, they're giving the acknowledgement all day long. They're often not getting it. So, and this applies to, I don't care who you're selling to, parents, whoever. Again, think about it. People in general, they crave to be seen. They crave to be acknowledged. They crave to be recognized. And when we can bring that level of intentionality into our outreach, I don't care who it is, you bring something from the heart to them that lets them know you see them, you recognize them, you genuinely think what they're doing is amazing. They're going to be receptive. It doesn't mean they're going to work with you, but they're at least going to pay some attention, whereas before they would have just deleted. So, and I'll share a fun little example. I got an outreach from a company a couple of weeks ago that wanted to do a website redesign for me. Now I'm already in process with someone else, so it didn't make sense to move forward, but I'm going to share their information and share the video with my clients because they literally took the time to go through my website and create a 10-minute video of walking through the website with a custom note on the front of the video, them waving, holding up a sign that was like, "Hey, Lise, we'd love to work with you." And it was just like, gosh, that level of intentionality. It didn't necessarily win them a client today because I'm not in the market today. I mean, I am, but I'd already moved with somebody else, but it will get me talking about them on my social. It will get them probably referrals to my clients. It will get me open to a conversation with them to see how I can help them. So it's that we had, and I don't remember the episode, but we had Catherine Tyndall on the podcast, gosh, I don't know, a couple months ago. So go back, it's probably somewhere in the 140s of She Sells Radio, but talking about how do you create a standout experience for both your prospects and then for your customers as well. And there's a lot of things that you can do that to an extent, you can automate some of this. I know that's going to sound counter to everything I just did, but you can automate reminders in your calendar to reach out and let people know you're thinking about them. You can automate, reminders for your team to send check-ins to prospects. So you can play with this. It doesn't have to take a ton of your time per se, but people will feel, do you really want to work with me or do you not? And so it's this whole concept too. You can read, there's a great book by John DeJulius called What's the Secret? And it's this whole concept of secret service of how can we just bring more intentionality into what we do? How can we make people feel seen? How can we make them feel appreciated? How can we customize our experience for them? And I think, again, whether you're running your own show as an entrepreneur or whether you're selling for someone else, you've got to take ownership of your process. And you've got to say, if I'm going to double my sales this month, I've got to look at doing things differently. And I've got to look at how can I bring that double the level of excellence to what I'm doing if I want to get double the result. So play with all of these, pick one that works for you that you want to start with, and then try them out and have some fun with it. And so in closing, I want to invite you to something super special that I'm so excited about. I've never done it before. And it's something I'm calling Sales Summer School, which I'm so pumped about. And so this is really for you, I would say, if you love people, you love serving your clients, you love serving customers, and maybe parts of the sales process feel awkward or clunky, or you feel like you just haven't mastered them yet. And whether it's some of the most popular ones, right? Like closing. It's rare that I meet someone who's like, oh, I love closing, even though we do have those people. And I used to not love it. I actually kind of do now. I kind of do. Or handling objections, right? Or generating new leads. I talk to a lot of clients who are like, oh, sending DMs feels awkward. I feel like I'm intruding on people. Or maybe you just, when you think of sales, it's like, it's my least favorite part of what I do, right? Maybe you're an entrepreneur. And again, you love working with clients, you love serving them, but the sales process itself, it feels like maybe it's got to be high pressure. And you're like, oh, if there's just another way to sell, I would be so game for it. And if you could just master the process and have a process that actually works for you and was designed for you and how you're wired as a woman, then it would be a game changer. And that's why I'm creating this. And I think something that's super unique about our community and what I love about the members of our She Sells community is that you want a very holistic approach to selling. And so if you've been a member of the community for any amount of time, I love talking about the inner game, because to me, that was the part that really moved the needle the most in my life, was when I learned how to master that and then integrate a really powerful process with a rock solid inner game. But the members of our community, not only do they love the inner game, but they also want to master the process. And they want a very holistic approach to selling, one where they're working on limiting beliefs, one where they're overcoming themselves daily, and they've got an amazing process in place. And they feel so confident with closing. They feel so confident with pitching what they do. They feel they've got a constant stream of inbound leads coming in because they've got a really solid lead gen strategy. And it feels like, just with the conversations I've been having with my private clients recently, so many of them have been saying, hey, like, I want to dial in my sales process even further. I want to really get this dialed in, because I know if I can just master this process, I'm doing the inner work. I know that piece, and I need this very tactical piece dialed in so that I can grow and scale to new levels, whether you're going for 6 figures or 7 figures or beyond. Having that process dialed in is important. And so it created this idea and this vision of, gosh, like, what would it look like to just share from what I've done, from my experience in sales and sales coaching, which is between, 15 and 20 years now. And I've been privileged to work with some really phenomenal sales professionals. I've sold just about everything myself. I've coached and trained and mentored some of the top sales professionals and entrepreneurs in the world. I've trained across so many different industries, B2B, B2C. This is funny, but like, some of my favorite clients have actually been, I've helped a client sell pizza into gas stations. I mean, I know you're like, is that on brand for She Sells? But actually it was really fun. I helped someone launch a very successful day trading training company. And he's one of the good guys out there. He wants to really help change the industry. So anyway, all of that to say, I've been privileged to kind of see it all behind the scenes in the sales world and help create really powerful sales processes across virtually every industry, as well as sell in a ton of industries myself. And so to me, it's really fun to help you master your sales process. And I want to help you not feel overwhelmed by it, not feel intimidated by it, but feel like you've got a one-stop shop for everything that you need to just crush your sales process. And I think this is phenomenal for you, whether you're an entrepreneur who wants to really master the process, or maybe you're in sales, maybe you're producing sales rep for another company, or you're a sales leader and you're like, I want to empower. This will apply to both men and women, what I teach here. So all are welcome. And there's going to be some pieces that are very specific for women though. So it's like, I want to empower the women on my team to help them really rock their sales process this year and beyond. And so Sales Summer School is a full training suite of everything you need to master the full sales process. And you can literally take it with you for the rest of your life. So this is some of what we're going to be covering in it. It's not all of it, but it's very, very tactical training and modules on all parts of the sales process. So everything from, I'm going to kind of rattle them off, but this is not an episode that's going to go on forever and ever with everything that's included. I'll tell you where you can go to find out more. But at a high level, we're going to cover everything from sales process mastery to time management. And again, if you're a woman, typically everything you've been taught about time management and sales is wrong. So we're going to talk about how to actually do it in a way that creates results. Lead generation. How do you have a consistent stream of inbound leads of super ideal clients? Initial outreach, right? Whether it's DMs, text messages, emails that work, discovery conversation, having powerful discovery conversations where you feel super confident and you help the person move forward towards a decision. Your presentation skills, you're going to master those. Objection handling. How do you kind of know what's really an objection? How do you know when it's just a no for someone? What do you say when someone throws an objection at you that doesn't feel really cheesy or doesn't feel canned or doesn't feel pressury, but actually help someone, again, move forward to making that decision in favor of their highest good? We're going to talk closing. You're going to be a closing master at the end of this. Creative follow-up, right? How do you stay in front of people and follow up and generate more referrals and more leads and opportunities from there? And then also consistency. How do you, once you start hitting, again, whatever the financial goal is, maybe it's 10K months, 20K months, 100K months even. Once you start hitting that, what are the tactical pieces you need to put in place for consistency and to keep scaling up and up beyond, scaling your sales to the next level? So my friend, again, I'm so excited about this. I've never done this before. It's part of my roots. It's part of what sometimes I just take for granted. It's like, people actually really need this stuff. And it makes a big difference when you have that rock solid process. So you can go to elisearcher.com/summer school to learn more and to get enrolled. Again, elisearcher.com/summer school. It's also the most affordable thing I've ever created. So I will say that I wanted to create something that's a super easy yes for people. And so go there, check it out, get involved if it feels right for you. Again, you'll be able to take this with you the rest of your life and keep scaling your sales and just feel really empowered with all aspects of the sales process. So I hope you will come join me there. Again, elisearcher.com/summer school. And from here, I just want to say thank you. I hope this episode served you. I hope it spoke to you. I would love to know on social, what are you taking with you? What's your biggest takeaway? What's your biggest aha? What are you going to implement? I'm so grateful to have you as a listener. I'm always so honored when you share this on social and tag me. So I'd be super grateful for that. Wishing you a super, super powerful rest of your day and week. And I'll see you next week for our next episode of She Sells Radio. Bye for now.